Hello there, welcome back to Backyard Ballistics. Today we're still in England, still in Guy's shed, and we're taking care of a 38 caliber Webley MkIV revolver. If you remember the Mozilla Gant video I published a few weeks ago, I said that it was handed in together with what looked like a Webley revolver. Well, here it is. I have no idea where they come from. It looks like they were both buried improperly, of course, but on this gun the corrosion products feel different. The rust is less sticky, if that makes sense. I think this might be due to the fact that this gun was originally parkerized, but I don't know for sure. This initially gave me a sense of hope, but I soon realized that in most places the damage was just as severe as you'd expect it. I actually think I could have gotten these to come apart even without chemical rust removal, but you know what? I can't be bothered. The grips are plastic, so they won't be affected. I'm just sticking it in my favorite derusting bath. You can find detailed instructions on how to make it at home by clicking this link. 24 hours later, there's no trace of rust left, and I can take this whole thing apart without much effort. Hopefully. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know I've already made a video fixing something similar. That was a WWII-era 4.55 caliber Webley MkVI. This one, on the other hand, is a WWII-era 38 caliber Webley MkIV. I know it's a bit counterintuitive that the MkVI was used in the First World War and the MkIV in the Second, but let me explain. Right after World War I, the British military decided their service revolver, the MkVI, was too bulky and its ammunition too heavy. The army was happy with the design, only size was the issue. So all Webley had to do was making a downscaled version of the same gun. In fact, they had already done that many years before at the Mark III stage of the design iteration, when they offered a downscaled revolver chambered in 38 Smith & Wesson. By tweaking the design a bit, the 38 caliber MkIV revolver was born. The smaller and lighter weapon meant it could be easily carried as a backup weapon or in situations where you wouldn't be able to fit any larger weapons at all, such as for vehicle crews. Actually, if military vehicles are your thing, you'll certainly like War Thunder, the sponsor of today's video. Available for free on PC, consoles and mobile, it is the most comprehensive PvP vehicle combat game ever made, allowing you to take control of every possible military vehicle, including over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters and ships from 10 major nations, tracing the history of motorized warfare from the rudimentary vehicles of the 1920s to modern day war machines. All vehicles are realistically modeled and incredibly detailed, with realistic graphics, authentic sound effects, and with a worldwide community of over 70 million players, there's no game better suited for fans of military history. Each vehicle is modeled down to its individual components, and a sophisticated damage model is implemented when a vehicle is hit by enemy fire. Each type of armor, shell and missile behaves like their real world counterparts. An X-ray view model lets you see exactly what each hit has accomplished in terms of defeating an enemy vehicle. The game doesn't need any extra hardware to be played. In fact, there's now a new mobile version available on iOS and Android. Play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox or mobile by clicking the link in the video description. New and returning players that haven't played for at least 6 months on PC or consoles will get a massive bonus pack comprising premium vehicles, the Eagle of Valor decorator, 100,000 Silver Lions and 7 days of premium account. Offer available for a limited time only, hurry up. Back to the gun. There's a lot more to say about this gun design, but I'll do that as we progress in the restoration attempt. That V-shaped thing is the mainspring, responsible for pushing the hammer forward. Then I want to separate the gun into its 3 main parts: frame, barrel and cylinder. Even though this is by no means my first time taking one of these apart, I always keep undoing the screws in the wrong order for some reason. Right, last time I did these the spring broke. Not this time, thank goodness. Now, the vast majority of modern revolvers uses a swing-out cylinder design. This is instead a break-action revolver, where the barrel is hinged on the frame and is rotated downwards to load and unload the gun. This was somewhat common in early revolvers, as it allowed a much shorter reload time compared to fixed cylinder designs that had to be loaded one chamber at a time. On the downside, the design was structurally weaker, and this means it's usually limited to low pressure ammunition. What I'm removing now is the barrel catch, the part you act on to release the barrel and break open the action. As we take the trigger group out, note that this is a double action revolver, meaning you don't have to manually cock the hammer before each shot. The trigger does that automatically as you pull it, allowing for a much higher rate of fire. This, combined with a short reload time provided by the break action, explains why the army was happy with the design that remained in service for more than half a century. To optimize manufacturing, the blast shield was not made in one piece with the frame, but instead a separate part dovetailed in the frame and kept in place with a screw. Now that we've taken it apart completely, what do? If I was in Italy, I'd do some micro arc welding on the surface to fill in the deeper pits. Unfortunately, I only have basic tools here in England, so all I can do is a bit of sanding and draw filing, making sure not to go over markings. Then I'll have to refinish it. Now, this gun is marked War Finish, a wording that Webley and Scott placed on their military contract guns to differentiate them from their higher quality commercial production that was well polished and blued. The military contract guns, on the other hand, were left much rougher and then parkerized. I've seen some that also had some sort of paint on top of the parkerizing, but I'm no expert, so if you know anything about these, please let us know in the comments. In any case, this metal was originally parkerized, meaning that its surface was coated in a complex mixture of iron and manganese phosphate. Since this is a backyard channel, I've always been looking for a homemade parkerizing bath. I couldn't find any that was even half decent online though, so I tried making my own. And that's been happening on and on for quite a while, but I was never really satisfied with my results. Luckily though, another YouTuber has succeeded where I failed. The ElementalMaker made the best homemade parkerizing bath I could find on the internet, and you can find a link to his video both here and in the video description. So if you ever need to parkerize anything at home, that's the way to go. Unfortunately, he only published the video after I came back from England, so considering my limited equipment and time over there, I had no other choice than bluing the gun, even though that's not how it would have come originally. At least it looks better than it was. What you just saw clicking is the automatic shell ejector, another feature introduced to speed up reloading. As I reassembled the gun, I made sure that there were no missing or broken parts, and everything, including timing and ball alignment, seemed alright. The ball looks good enough to shoot, and I think we can get ready for a test fire. About that, it's time to talk briefly about ammunition, because there's a very interesting story behind the cartridge that this gun used. Remember when I said that the British military wanted to move away from the large 4.55 cartridge they used in World War I? They wanted a smaller caliber, but didn't want to give up the heavy bullets. In those years, there was a widespread belief, especially in England, that heavy and slow bullets were more effective at stopping an opponent than lighter and faster ones. To satisfy this preference, Webley, that had already been marketing a downscaled version of their Mark III revolver chambered in the smaller 38 Smith & Wesson, offered the army an improved version of it, designated as the Mark IV, which is exactly what we're working on today, but combined with a super heavy load for it. And by heavy, I don't mean strong, just heavy in the literal sense. It initially used a 200 grain lead bullet and later a 178 grain jacketed one. That loading is also known as the 38-200, 200 being the weight of the original lead bullet. It's basically just a 38 Smith & Wesson, same dimensions, pressures and muzzle energy, but it uses a much heavier bullet than normal. To put things into perspective, the typical bullet for a 38 Smith & Wesson weighs 145 grains. The much more powerful and common 38 Special is hardly ever loaded with bullets heavier than 158 grains. Loading the weaker 38 Smith & Wesson with such a heavy bullet meant a big drop in muzzle velocity to between 180 and 190 meters per second, an unusually low velocity for a firearm, making the 38-200 arguably the slowest cartridge design to ever reach mass production. Anyway, the army did their testing, said they were happy with it, so the project went ahead. So much so that the British government basically stole Webley's design, getting the Royal Small Arms Factory of Enfield Lock to mass produce a practically identical revolver designated as the Enfield No. 2. Needless to say, Webley and Scott wasn't happy. However, during wartime, the production at Enfield wasn't nearly enough to keep up with the demand, and the British government ended up buying substantial numbers of revolvers from private companies, including of course Webley's Mark IV revolver. That's where the war-finished Webleys come from. Anyway, for the test fire, we're using original World War II era cartridges since Guy had a surplus of them. And this is why you never shoot another round after a weird sounding shot. In this case, either the primer or the powder deteriorated and there was not enough pressure to push the bullet out of the barrel. Other than that, the gun worked fine for the rest of the testing.
Okay.
Before leaving you, I want to give a final thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to play it for free on PC, console or mobile by following the link in description. New and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack across PC and consoles, including premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator. Offer available for a limited time only, hurry up. Once again, a huge thanks goes to my patrons, which as usual are all listed here. Thank you all for watching, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.